Good morning, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journato, morning headlines on April 22, 2023. Allies move to bolster Ukrainian tank forces ahead of counteroffensive. Reuters, Ukrainian troops to begin training on US-made tanks in next few weeks. Politico Europe, Canada announces more military aid for Ukraine. CBC News, US announces new $325 million HIMARS military aid package for Ukraine. Forces Network, US to begin training Ukrainian troops on Abrams tank. Nuclear weapons, why South Koreans want the bomb. Trump News, live, Trump's war with DeSantis heats up as Larry Elder joins 2024 race. The Independent, DeSantis warns of the consequences of another GOP White House loss, DeSantis versus Trump, US News. CNN News 18, new wave of GOP candidates to challenge Trump, DeSantis. The Independent, Ron DeSantis is flaming out, and Trump is on course for a Republican coronation. The Guardian, shake up. What exactly is DeSantis doing? Live, view of Khartoum, Sudan as 72-hour ceasefire starts for Eid. The Independent, live, smoke rises over buildings in Sudan as fighting continues. Laurie Vallow Daybell trial, live, Chad Daybell's chilling dream, revealed in friend's murder case testimony. The Independent, Laurie Vallow Daybell's son takes stand in her murder trial. CBS News, Day 13, live updates, a nanny, school principal, nightmares and visions. Here's the latest in Laurie Daybell's murder trial. East Idaho News, napping in court, 3 words and typing too loudly, bizarre moments from Laurie Vallow's murder trial. The Independent, family friend, babysitter described JJ's final days in Daybell murder trial. My Pillow boss Mike Lindell to pay $5 million to man over bogus election claim. BBC, My Pillow founder ordered to pay $5 million in election data dispute. The Independent, Trump backing pillow entrepreneur who set up Prove Me Wrong contest must pay $5 million to man who did. The Telegraph, analysis, election denialism had a costly week, but will it make a difference? Russian army launches campaign encouraging men to join. BBC, Russian military encourages real men to step forward in recruitment ad. NBC News, Russian military recruitment ad calls on real men to ditch civilian jobs for the battlefield. Forces Network, new Russian military ad appears to mock Russian men's masculinity. CNN International, watch, Russian recruitment ad calling for "real men" to fight in Ukraine, World News. Hijacked, Flight 73, hostage who survived the 1986 Pan Am plane attack finds out why one of the terrorists spared his life. Ralph Yarl, update, Andrew Lester's family, disgusted, by shooting a Stand Your Ground laws in spotlight. The Independent, grandson of Ralph Yarl's shooter says he was into weird, random, racist things. CNN, Andrew Lester's family, disgusted, by shooting, we stand with Ralph Yarl. The Independent, in the shooting of Ralph Yarl, a reminder of the racist, adultification, of black children. The Philadelphia Inquirer, grandson of Ralph Yarl's shooter says grandfather holds racist tendencies. Sudan fighting, Khartoum violence mapped as civilians flee city. BBC, Sudan held hostage, fears grow of the conflict mutating into a proxy war, France 24 English. France 24 English, Sudan, violence between army and militia is a symptom of an old disease that is destroying Africa. The Conversation Indonesia, opinion, in Sudan bloodbath, neither warring general should win. The Washington Post, when I call relatives in Sudan, I don't know if they will still be alive. The world must not look away. Alabama shooting, update, 6 suspects including boy, 15, arrested over Dadeville Sweet 16 party attack. The Independent, Alabama shooting, 3 arrested after Sweet 16 party leaves 4 dead and 32 injured. Express, 5th person charged over shooting that killed 4 at 16th birthday party in Alabama. Sky News, opinion, Senator Jay Hovey may have meant well, but he was wrong. Alabama political reporter, 2 more arrested for Sweet 16 birthday massacre in Alabama that killed 4 and hurt 32. Vladimir Kara-Murza, family's heartbreak at Putin critic's jail term. BBC, 5 people sanctioned over imprisonment of British-Russian dissident. Evening Standard, EU Parliament demands Russia release Kara-Murza, Navalny, other political prisoners. Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, Russian lawyer for jailed opposition activist Kara-Murza flees. BBC, UK sanctions FSB agents and Russian investigators behind arrest of British-Russian national Vladimir Kara-Murza. Sudan fighting, street battles dash hopes of Eid ceasefire. BBC, street battles in Sudan capital as Eid ceasefire calls ignored, France 24 English. France 24 English, clashes in Sudan on Eid holiday despite truce announcements. Al Jazeera English, failed Sudan ceasefire leads to muted Eid celebrations, BBC News. BBC News, Sudan's capital sees lull in street fighting on first day of Eid. Alejandro Toledo, Peru ex-president to be extradited from US. BBC, Peru's ex-president Toledo surrenders to face extradition from US. Al Jazeera English, former Peru president Alejandro Toledo to be extradited from US. Financial Times, Peru's ex-president Toledo surrenders to US authorities for extradition. France 24 English, ex-Peru president Toledo to be extradited by US to face graft charges. Paris synagogue bomber convicted after 43 years. BBC, French court finds Hassan Diab guilty in 1980 synagogue Paris bombing case. CBC News, Canadian professor convicted in absentia of 1980 Paris synagogue bombing. The Guardian, Lebanese-Canadian academic Hassan Diab convicted of 1980 Paris synagogue bombing. Sky News, Paris court hands Canadian man life term for 1980 bombing. Eid, Belfast event amazing for Muslim community. BBC, thousands gather for prayers at Mecca to mark the start of Eid al-Fitr. The Independent, Eid al-Fitr and XR demonstrations, Friday's best photos. The Guardian, Palestinians mark Eid al-Fitr holiday despite difficulties. Al Jazeera English, community gathers together to mark the end of Ramadan. Russia-Ukraine war at a glance, what we know on day 423 of the invasion. The Guardian, NATO allies agree Ukraine will become member. Sky News, talking Europe, we have to readapt quickly to a long-term threat, ex-Estonian President Kaljulaid. France 24 English, how NATO should deter Vladimir Putin's Russia. Bloomberg, Ukraine war latest, ex-Russian leader calls UK monarchy degenerate and past PM's bizarre creatures. Moscow official warns of nuclear arms race. Mifepristone, U.S. Supreme Court preserves abortion drug access. BBC, is American women's access to abortion drug Mifepristone about to stop? BBC Newsnight. BBC News, U.S. Supreme Court blocks ruling limiting access to abortion pill. The Guardian, opinion, this could be one of the most brazen attacks on Americans' health yet. The New York Times, the Supreme Court fight over an abortion pill, what's next? This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.